Growth, massive growth, relaying of information, an avenue to better communication. All good things from an average person's perspective, but for Ralph Delavolpe, it can lead to awry and a sense of foreboding of a destructive lifestyle. The period of the 1940s brought on a strange dynamic change of environment with the absence of the World War. Fear, weakness, confusion. These emotions plagued a majority of people in the midst of the Cold War. The artist created his painting during the onset of it, which implies that the piece has a correlation to this significant event. It dominated much of politics and heightened suspicions, particularly the communism scare. The main reason for the fearful emotion. The Cold War saw its beginnings in the metropolitan area Delavolpe was raised in, New York. And even the painting is called New York. Many historians argue about the official year the Cold War began, but most say that it was 1947 to 1949, and Delavolpe drew the picture in 1947. He attended New York's prestigious National Academy of Design for painting, and then served in the Army during World War II, where he was wounded twice and received the Purple Heart. Due to this, his experiences definitely influenced his artistic styles that he decided to be immersed in throughout various aspects of his life. Tom Wolfe, an administrator from Bard College, stated that the paintings Delavolpe produced after his return to project feelings of melancholy and sadness. Reflecting on melancholiness and looking at the painting, one can see that the distorted towering buildings in Ralph Delavolpe's New York evoke weariness and fear, emotions that would have been familiar to people dealing with the dynamic, rapidly spreading urbanism of the Cold War. As you observe and glance at the painting, you can see that Delavolpe gives a lot of indications of the feel of negative reactions to urbanism and the Cold War. Gray smoke. The gray smoke that acts as a cloud cover for the city environment looms over the city as an uneasy atmosphere, like a poisonous fume. Surrounding the buildings, it seems to reinforce the gloomy feeling of uneasiness and being trapped. Similarly, those scenery pictures depict clouds acting as a cover softly draped around the clear blue sky. There is nothing supportive or optimistic about these clouds. I feel as if the artist is trying to convey pollution, as there is smoke coming out of chimneys and skyscrapers, all gathering in a mass. Going off from the dreary clouds, you can see one tiny detail to the right where birds are flying away from the city. This signifies her loss of relationship with nature. Birds are seen going in the direction away from the city, which means that nature is probably inhibited from the city. Industrialization impedes the city even though it brings progress, and our connection from nature is beginning to be truly lost. This piece is portraying that we have lost touch with nature and have turned to a life of machinery. This can also be related to the Cold War, as people became lost in the sea of progress and uncertainty, leading to skepticism and war. There are distorted qualities, such as the size of skyscrapers looming over the city. There are also a good amount of them. The skyscrapers dominate the scene and are very imposing. Distortions in paintings can sometimes mean highlighting a specific negative aspect of life, or the aspect that the artist is trying to portray. In this case, urbanism can be exploited. The other distortions in the picture are the winding curves of roads, exaggerated tiny cars, and oddly shaped houses. Weirdly enough, there is no sign of human life, or there seems to be minuscule human life as seen through the small cars, small houses, and small details that depict it. To reiterate, the artist made the skyscrapers fairly large, which perhaps means that we are getting lost in the sea of progress. An example of this can be seen through this picture again. A picture from the 1940s of people walking through a park. Then you can see here in this drawing by S.L. Margulies that there are very tiny cars on the bottom, but towering high structures. As mentioned before, Delavolpe's experiences definitely influenced his artistic styles throughout various aspects of his life. After the war, Delavolpe engaged in more artistic styles to evolve his craft. Throughout his tenure, he became influenced by Impressionism, and other styles of art. He even noted that Pablo Picasso inspired him because he wasn't afraid to do the extraordinary. Adding on to that, Della Volpe says this in a recent interview. With all of these explosions, that is where his judgment as an artist, honed over a lifetime of painting, comes into play. As one develops as an artist, problems arise. Shapes have to be formed and colors have to be developed. The experience you have both in life and in painting helps you see the possibility of the future. Even though he changed his artistic style, the symbolic painting of New York's urban scene still speaks significantly to those who come across it. When he said that the experiences you have both in life and in painting helps you see the possibility of the future, it resonates with his earlier depictions of the urbanism scene. Through his experience in World War II, he drew up this concept of fear and barrenness through distorted towering buildings that were synonymous to feelings people had while dealing with the dynamic urbanism of the Cold War.